Yo! What's up, everyone? Here to review the movie The Science of Sleep, which we lost 2 weeks ago on Film Club, but I took a week off from doing this shit because I had other shit to work on and I had to prepare for my debate and a bunch of other shit. But we're reviewing The Science of Sleep because I want to. I'll be reading both chats, Channel 5, plus Discord, obviously, and, what's it called? Voice call on the voice chat. The phone number will be up. We'll use the phone number. Turn that on. There's the phone number. While I'm here, I got some, got some things. Let's start off with the movie review, and then we'll talk a little bit about V-Shan and what's going on with that. I don't have much to say on it. I will do like official presser or whatever once I actually have full details from Mark. Sounds like he's been pretty busy the last couple days, so he isn't able to get everything over to me properly, but we'll have it ready by the time the 31st, by the end of the month. We'll say like February 1st, I'll do an official relaunch. We'll talk about new boards and maybe some new ideas for like banners and shit. Maybe we could figure that out, but for now, what I'm going to be doing, I want to talk about The Science of Sleep, an excellently terrible fucking movie. What a terrible fucking movie this was. Let's see, where should I start? There's a lot to go over. Yesterday was the PvP debate, which I'll put on my channel in a little bit. V-Chan going down. V-Chan being transferred to me, basically. I don't know if I'm able to get. I want to change the domain to tvchan.moe, so it'd be tvch.moe. But I have no word if I haven't talked to Mark's dev guy yet, so I have to do that first. Anyways, let's talk about the movie. Phone number. I'll post the Discord in the. What's it called? While I'm here. In the Gunstream chat as well. I'm taking over Ralph. I know everyone comes to Gunstream for Ralph, and I get that, I understand that, but I don't give a shit about him, and he's not good anymore. He's not funny or cool, and his shit isn't good. So, fuck Ralph. We don't need to talk about Ralph. We need to talk about the movies. We need to elevate the Gunstream beyond what it used to be, where we just restream Ralph, the Ralph retort. You can do so much more with this. We can do so much more. Daily Red Pill says, "You're amazing." Yeah, okay, thanks, buddy. B-Chan doesn't want to be. Mark just doesn't want to do it. He wants to move over to 8kun. He thinks 8kun is ready. Even if 8kun is ready, my board is not moved over to 8kun. My 8kun users is about the same as my V-Chan users, but my post activity is super low in comparison. And it's not that I don't like. I'm not going to denounce or disavow 8kun here, but my TV is not ready to move over there yet. So I am taking over from him, and he's going to move over. The official date he told me is January 31st. So anyone who has any questions about that, January 31st is the day. By we, it's like, listen, this is me basing off of what happened last time V-Chan went down, where my people, my TV, didn't move to Jule, and they didn't move to 8kun. So, to keep TV alive, you just bought TV. Shit. Anime Pro, I don't have a Bitcoin. I don't have Bitcoin. You fuck. Okay, let's review The Science of Sleep, because that's about. If anyone has any more questions about. Ralph is a closet homo. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Omar Territory, Daily Red Pill. Yeah, But since we're here, I think, does anyone else have any questions about the V-Chan stuff? Otherwise, I'm going to move into the movie review. I think I've made it pretty close how I feel about it. Any more questions? No. Maybe the truffle shuffle then. I'll do it for you, Anime Pro. I'll send you a private video just to you if you give me back my domain. Okay, I think that's the V-Chan shit out of the way. I'll have more info for you guys later. But now's the big shit, the big news. I'll do it. I can give you a truffle shuffle video. I can give you that. Don't post the link at journalists and we're good. I'm not going to post the link at journalists. Are you crazy? What do you think, I'm stupid? Duh. They don't need to know shit. I'm not going to send any links to any journalist. Ever. It's not going to happen. Not a chance. Alright, let's review this movie. I'm sure most of you were here and you watched this movie with me. Was it not the worst shit? Signs of Sleep. Where to begin with it? Okay. First of all, it's a Mexican dude in France who's too shy to speak French. So he speaks a combination of Spanish and English, but everyone else around him speaks French. The two worst things in this world are Spanish and French film. That's a fact. French film is the worst, Spanish film is the close second. Whenever a French person opens their mouth in this movie, I just want to slap the taste out of them. It's so not good when I hear French. It's like it switches languages all the time because it's artsy and it's cool. It's multilingual, multicultural, bro. Fuck off. And then the worst... The worst part of it is the presentation. The presentation of this movie is just terrible. Poll users, Sport TV users, thanks, Daily Red Pill. Shout out to you guys for keeping on. Shout out to all the poll users for keeping on without ever actually having a containment board or a new site to flock to besides 4chan, I guess. Channel 5 Action, you said it was shit. It was shit. I mean, there's nothing else we can say, but it was just shit. I really... Okay, so the problem with a lot of the presentation of the film, so the way it was presented, the dream sequence was presented in stop motion, or they were presented with, like, arts and crafts cutout stuff. And that just is, like, the least dreamlike thing you can do. Like, a lot of tangible, like, real-world, like, real moving elements, that's not what dreams look like. They're very ethereal, and they're very, like, you know, muddy, and lots of, like, you know, organic elements. Not, like, you know, construction-style elements, like, lots of cubic shapes and stuff. That's not what dreams look like, and so it came off less like dream sequences and more like art project. Like, cheap art project a film student made. And Michael Gondry did Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is an objectively better film. But, you know, at least in that, the dream sequences felt, like, dream-esque, and there was, like, going through memories and stuff, but that, maybe it's just a budget difference here, but this was made afterwards, and it's just, like, a really poorly executed film from that perspective. But to me, the worst part, emo fucking romance. And this isn't this isn't Gondry's shit. This is one of the Gondry film, like, cliches. Eternal Sunshine obviously had it. Not really Be Kind Rewind, but this one had it way more than either of those two movies. And oh my fucking god, I fucking hate middle school tier emo girl. Not emo girls, but, like, it's like the guy is an emo, you know? Like, at least with an emo girl, like, it's kind of like a hot, like, you stick your dick in crazy kind of thing, but this emo dude just moping about, oh, should I ask this girl out? I don't know if I should. I'm so nervous. What if she says no? Like, fucking Christ, dude. Jesus. No, what's up, dude?
Oh, hey. Yeah, I just came in. I wanted to put my input on the movie as well.
Yeah, what'd you think? It was pretty terrible, right?
It was terrible. I remember seeing it when it first came out on DVD, and I was a lot younger then, and I think I was more dazzled by the visuals. It's pretty neat. But
even
the protagonist himself is an absolute insufferable. He's also a spoiled asshole.
Yeah,
Like
that's a big
this
problem.
movie, this movie clearly came out during that era where they're really trying to promote like the Scott Pilgrim s slacker, you know, protagonist character. I remember like fucking uh, it was Zombieland and shit like that. Where what's his name
Oh, Jesse Eisenberg.
and
Yeah, Michael Cera.
yeah,
Yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg and Michael Cera and all those skinny fucking white kids. It seemed like a real sloppy imitation of that. Like, oh, we got to go with this sheen that's going on right now.
I mean,
And
it in a
yeah,
in a way you're not wrong, but I mean I can connect this more to Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. This just feels like a more indulgent, less poignant, with a lower budget Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And I don't think I think Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind upon rewatches, I think it loses a lot of its like like effect, mostly because I think that I've just matured as a person and I don't really feel that way about relationships anymore. But like this is a lot of like
yeah,
the ideas from that movie stretched out, and like the Jim Carrey character in that movie is also kind of a similar thing, but it portrays more of an older guy instead of a young teenager guy, so it comes off a little bit differently. But this feels more like a sequel to Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and the protagonist kind of
like
letting
10 years later, same character.
10 years later, but 10 years younger, and also 10 years younger on the maturity scale. Like, it feels a lot like how a middle schooler would write a romance story.
Yeah. I, I will agree with you though. The love romance just seemed, I don't know, it seemed mandatory. I want to say like
I mean,
it seemed
it's the whole focus of the movie. Like, that's what the movie is. It's a romance movie. Like, centrally, it's what it is. But like the way the movie approaches the romance is really like it's understanding of how like people talk and interact is very like the only way I can describe it is immature. It's really like the guy comes off like a child, and the girl comes off kind of more like a adult, but she like responds to him like one of your playground friends on the school responds to a crying child. Like, oh, it's okay, buddy, what's going on?
yeah. I felt like the movie could have been better if it didn't focus on the romance. Like if it was more just about the character himself. Like even though he's insufferable, it it could take some time to learn why he's insufferable. But I think what I was trying to say is like the romance plot was like, well, what do we do with this idea? I don't know. Fucking make him bang a chick, whatever. Like,
Yeah, I think you're not wrong, but the problem is that like the dream sequences and like the romance don't connect. They're not like they don't feel like cohesive as part of like a whole. Like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind did that well. Where like the going through your past memories and the romance angle
yeah,
that
yeah,
worked. They worked together in tandem to tell a decent story. Whereas this like it just felt like they were like separated. It's like, oh, this guy has really real like really vivid dreams and he can visualize stuff in his dreams and all that shit. And it's like partially because of the way that it's paced and written, it just feels like kind of like who cares? Like why does that even matter? Like that seems like even though like a huge focus like runtime of the movie is spent in his dreams, they seem to mean nothing and they seem to have no real effect other than him
well, I think
expressing
the
emotional
difference
angst.
between Eternal Sunshine is that the memories he's retracing memories of like when he was in love. So there's
Yeah,
more meaning to the character there. In this movie, it's very abstract and it's not very related on what
yeah,
sort of visuals you see or what you go through as long as the overall point was made.
exactly. And because that the romance story's essential plot, it feels like and the dream sequences aren't really connected to the romance out that much. Like it just feels like the dream sequences are pointless, and they don't really seem to have a purpose other than being artsy and weird for the sake of being
Yeah.
artsy and weird.
The entire point of the dream sequence is like we've watched The Sopranos and the what is it the nice lives of the charming lives of the bourgeoisie recently both, and both of them do dream sequences so much better. Like
Yeah.
the thing is, here they just, oh yeah, no, put everything in cardboard. If everything is cardboard, that's like a dream, right? Because it's weird. No, that's not like a dream. Who
Yeah.
the fuck dreams about everything being cardboard?
Yeah, I mean,
Like, it's more about the way people talk, and Sopranos does this amazingly, and the bourgeoisie as well, although that one's even more out there. But
I mean, there's plenty of movies where like you're going into dreams and stuff. I mean, like fucking even Inception did it better than this. And Inception, I don't think really captured a dream world all that well because it's too concrete and too like physical. But like this one's like literally the least dream sequencing I can possibly think of is stop motion and hard edge cardboard because there's not a lot of cubic shapes in dreams. There's a lot of like soft and like smooth kind of like liquid, like you're moving in between like states of like consciousness kind of thing. And like when I think about my dreams, I don't think about like hard cubic edges and like hard geometric patterns and like stop motion, like jagged stop motion animation of like square cutouts of fucking like whatever that water shit was. Like that doesn't look like fucking. That's what a dream looks like. It's just like. I understand like the idea is that he was like doing arts and crafts dream thing, but like that's not it, the approach just wasn't a good idea in execution.
like, just there being
I think it was a really shitty attempt to say that he's like an artistic mind or something like that. But you could do it in other ways other than just cardboard, and like there's so many other art things.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's the best I can come up with, to be honest, and I'm not even sure if that's right.
Oh no, it's fair enough. I mean, like, I don't think it's a good movie, and I think I think it's one of Zach's favorite movies on his letterbox. So I think because of that, I think we got a real indicator of what Zach thinks is good in film with this. That's all. I understand. Like to me, I think Zach was an emo in middle school. I'm almost positive he was. Like I had this.
Nickelback, we know he was an emo.
Yeah, no.
You
want to hang out with Zach?
Dude, you read his fucking poetry. You know how emo this motherfucker is.
You're right. It's like when it is like that. It's like a middle schooler writing emo poetry, and they made it into a script for a movie. That's a lot of what his soliloquies are in the movie. Are just like emo poetry from middle school. And I don't like mean to demean like the other people who were in the movie. Like, and there's some talented actors and actresses in this movie. Like, I thought the leading actress, whoever her name is, I thought she did a decent job in the acting. Like, I didn't think she was terrible, but.
Yeah, she just got a shitty character to play and a shitty script to.
I mean, she had to speak French, and I'm sure she is French, so that's a fucking knock on her, obviously, because fuck the French.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who is her girlfriend? His girlfriend again? The chick from Nymphomaniac.
Yeah, it was her. Okay, Hole, please respond.
Yeah.
Oh, what am I responding to? Anime
Into
Pro?
the trashy goes.
Asking what he thought of Gondry's direction in Human Nature. I haven't watched Human Nature.
Are there black dicks in there? I'm sure he loved it if there are. Oh, fucking hell, man.
Oh my god, 2001? I've never watched Human Nature. That's crazy. I can't believe I never watched that. That's weird.
Same fucker.
It's by him and Charlie Kaufman, so maybe it's... I remember it's by a different writer, so it might be okay, but...
Okay.
It might also be kind of shit. I've never watched this movie before. But I'm not in contact with Zach Anime Pro, unfortunately.
No. I mean, we haven't properly talked to him since he was in here, or at least in the Gunstream chat during his birthday. But even that, I mean, you can't really be sure it's him. It's crazy stories about eating.
Will I ever read Journey to the West? I think I've read Journey to the West at some point. It's been a long time, though. But yeah, I don't even think that his I don't think Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is one of the most overhyped movies of all time. Like I think it is an extremely overrated movie, and that's just my personal opinion. But I do think it's an overrated film.
What was that? Is that Ashton Kutcher? Like what is it? Losing his memory? That's the one, right?
It's Jim Carrey losing his memory, and he erases his memory of his past relationship.
Yeah,
I would agree with you with that. I think it gets most of its notoriety over the fact that it's Jim Carrey playing like a serious, meaningful role, like Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah, and in that respect, Jim Carrey's a great actor, but like for a movie like this, you don't need just a great actor. Like the entire story of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is just kind of bland.
I think
really fascinated me. I don't know.
I think that the romance stuff is pretty decent in it, and I think as the plot, it's not a terrible movie, but it's like hyped up as like the greatest romance movie of all time, and I just don't think it's that.
Romance is garbage to begin with. Like it's sort of like an extra flavor you can put on something. You can do romance.
Yeah, it's just a story about how a guy bangs a chick.
Listen, you're missing. Listen, I can appreciate a good love story. I can appreciate it. I can enjoy a good romance. I can enjoy it by itself. I'm not a big fan of romantic comedies that much. I kind of like my romances. I guess I am, but like I can enjoy it every now and then. But there are good romances and there's bad romances. And the problem is that you shove romances into stories that don't need them, so it becomes kind of like. You know, people get
it's
sick
an extra
of
thing you shove in somewhere. But I will say that like the entire genre of romance movies, like its peaks aren't that high. Like the really true Kino movies. Like you tell me, like one of the top 20 movies of all times that's all about fucking romance, or has that as the main theme of it.
Casablanca.
Ooh.
Okay, well, I honestly haven't watched Casablanca because
listen. And here's the deal. Like, I mean, it's. I mean, Casablanca is essentially just a romance story set in kind of but it's got some action, it's got some drama to it as well, some intrigue. But there is a good way. Like, romances can work as a central narrative. The problem is that for a long time, romances were being shoehorned into every narrative, and so people got sick of them. So like there would be like every action movie needed a romance, every comedy movie needed a romance. You know, it was everywhere. And to me, I think romances should be romances. Action movies should be action movies. Comedies should be comedies. Maybe have a little bit of mixing here and there, but everything does not need to be everything at once. And for me, there are great romance movies. There are great romance stories, but I don't need to watch them all the time. That's the thing.
Yeah, but it's more sort of a part of thing. Even if you look at the old progression of the hero sort of situation, where you get sort of the basic idea of at least movies at the start.
Oh, like the hero's arc.
Well, that's one way
hero's arc. Like, there's
story.
always a romance angle in there too, and there's supposed to be a little bit because it's part of the human experience. But to put it as a central focus of things is just
It
doesn't
worked.
appeal to the male mind as much as the female mind. And
That's true.
That might be the problem we're dealing with.
That is true. But I think that it's. I mean, look at Casablanca. Look at Romeo and Juliet. To a lesser extent, you know, something like. I mean, even like The Notebook. I mean, that's a that's some classic Goose films right there. But you know, the romance was mostly seen more in plays rather than you know, movies. Because by the time movies came around, the romance has been kind of overdone. But there are some classic romance stories, and there are classic just romance movies that work okay. You know, it doesn't always need to.
What is romance? Like, would you say Drive is a romance movie? Because there's like.
Because the main focus
of dedicated.
Because the main focus of the movie is to be an action film. Whereas Casablanca, the main focus of that movie is to be a romance movie. The romance is the central narrative and plot. Whereas the central narrative of Drive is, I mean, the romance is a catalyst for action, but the main focus of that story is about the driver coming into conflict with other people.
Yeah, so how much of Casablanca would you say is spent on the romance?
Most of it. The point of Casablanca is the romance between two people, between Ingrid Bergman and Humphrey Bogart. It's their story, and it's about them being brought back together again after being separated. And the setting and the situation is just a way for them to romantically interconnect. Like that's the main conflict and tension.
I think what the movie's trying to say is like in action and comedy movies and all that, romance is more of like the reward or sort of medal that the character changed himself and progressed and can live on. Like in The Rocketeer, he's not, you know, he's really in love with the chick in that, but it's more of a reward that he's like developed as a character and you know, sending him off into the sunset.
Right, it's also those are like thin kind of romances, whereas Casablanca's more like, you know, he loves this woman, but he knows he needs to let her go, and that's the tension. The internal tension of the main character really isn't, you know, about the Nazis or World War II. It's about what should I do with this woman I love? Should I let her go? Should I try and keep her with me? And that is the classic romance story.
You know, I will say I did kind of like her, but it's also with the sci-fi aspects, which gives you some shit to think about, you know, which you don't really have that much with yeah,
I mean, almost all romance stories have some kind of unique setting to backdrop them on, and that's kind of like built upon it. Like even Breakfast at Tiffany's or The Notebook. I mean, a lot of these have like a time period or like something like that, or like a musical something to go along with it. But whatever the case, who fucking like Dirty Dancing? That's a good romance movie. Actually, I think that's a very good classic romance movie where it's just about two people getting together and dancing and falling in love, and it's a classic movie.
Dirty Dancing is the one with Patrick Swayze, like beating the shit out of a bunch of people in cafes, right?
No. That's Roadhouse.
He frees a very conservative town.
As well. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it isn't. I don't know. But I get the impression that most of these things, besides like something like Casablanca, are all just specifically targeted to appeal to women.
Okay, before Trilogy is great. I'm reading the YouTube chat. I haven't read it for a little bit. You could take Eternal Sunshine more seriously because he was old enough to actually have had meaningful relationships in the past. Does Lestrade count as a romance movie? The Graduate. That's a good romance movie too. That's another one where The Graduate, where he's. That one's even like, it's not even like a positive. Like sometimes it's not even just. Where's the fucking Janny? Jesus. The Graduate. It's the way that they talk about it and the themes they explore that make a romance movie good. Yeah, like usually a romance movie is like, not just being positive about the relationship. It's not just people falling in love. It's also people examining whether the relationship works, whether it was a good idea to be in the relationship, etc. Stuff like that. There's more to it. And
but when you're doing a romance movie, aren't you just mostly just going through it and just thinking back about shitty old relationships you had, and it's just the experience is just awful.
Well, it depends. Maybe if you had a good experience in a relationship, that would be a different experience for you.
I mean, there's always relationships with good experiences, but you can't really, like... Most of the romance movies, it all revolves about shit going wrong. Like, people are getting cucked, somebody's breaking up, all that fucking shit, and it's just negative... I don't know.
Hey, you need to watch a good romance movie.
I don't see the appeal, I guess. That's the name.
Coming up is going to be Valentine's Day. We're going to have romance movie for Film Club. We'll get a good romance movie. We'll get a good one, and we'll watch it. It'll be like The Graduate or, Casablanca or Dirty Dancing.
Chinatown.
Breakfast at
Tiffany's. Every girl I've ever talked to about movies, they usually bring up the fucking Notebook at some point. Like,
it's got the goose in it, bro.
Actually, a good movie, or
it's got the goose, bro.
Got the goose.
The goose.
Guess, yeah. But yeah, I don't know, man. Even if these movies have Emma Stone or whoever the fuck was in Crazy Stupid Love, it doesn't necessarily like make the whole thing entertaining,
Yeah, I didn't think Crazy Stupid Love was that good either. But we'll.
I mean, it was a terrible movie. It's just a shitty ass romance movie. Of course, we didn't select it because it was good. Just BTFO Zach.
Which we did. We did BTFO Zach that night. That was a pretty BTFO moment.
Especially by shitting all over fucking Harry Potter and the Prisoner of children's rides in Disneyland.
Punch Drunk Love, In a Lonely Place, Happy Accidents. There's a lot of good romance. Like I think what you're trying to say, Guntopia, is that romance doesn't really work as a central focus of a story, and I think it does. And I think that there's examples of it working, but I think romance is also the genre to fuck up the easiest, and it's also the one that can be the most boring, especially for dudes. Like if you go to I do like something like Her, for instance, but if most other things just bore the ever-loving shit out of me. It's all about the drama and the tension and the, what does she think? Oh, you know how it is. You know how it is. It's not a fun experience. Isn't it much more fun to think about, hey, what is this crazy house or planet or dimension that people have gotten stuck into? What is that army doing? Like, bigger things than just a relationship of two people. Sometimes the most important, all stories are at the end about humans and about how we interact with each other. And at the end of the day, one of the most human things you can do is fall in love with someone else. It's certainly, but it doesn't need to be the focus. Like, I mean, there's a good amount of romance being used as the center of something like Citizen Kane as well, but it still isn't a romance movie because there's so much more going on in there. Yeah, I would agree with that, but, that's just because it's a different kind of movie. There's just... I think horror is the easiest genre to fuck up. I could see horror might be the second easiest to fuck up, but I think romance, you don't hear about bad romance movies because they're forgotten more, but there's more in the dredge of film stock and film history. There's more terrible romance movies than there are terrible horror movies.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. And
I
also,
think,
most
I mean,
legit directors just won't touch it because as a genre, it's kind of just dead and devoid of any quality.
horror or romance?
No, well, horror also. To be fair, there's not a lot of. Like,
There's plenty of romance movies that come out every year. There's plenty of like quality directors that make romance movies too.
Really?
Yeah.
You have like your Kubrick equivalent romance movie, or what?
I mean, it was Woody Allen for a time, but you know,
Woody Allen is good for me personally, but
Woody Allen's essentially a rapist. I mean, and a pedophile.
I mean, more hit and miss in the quality of his movies. As a person, he's absolutely abhorrent, disgusting, and okay, I won't go any further than that.
No, he's a
don't
piece
want
of
to go
shit.
all surfer here.
He's a piece of shit. Fuck Woody Allen. Let's see. It was A Star Is Born was just nominated for an Oscar. There's a lot of like high-profile romance movies that come out every year. You just don't watch them though because they don't appeal to you, which is fine. You know, maybe you just don't like romance movies, which is totally cool.
You pick out a good one for Valentine's Day, and I'll watch that.
Cool. Could you kill the Jews with your cock? I don't know if I could. I think that's an interesting discussion. We might have to have some other time though.
Gotta figure out a way to bring Surfer in anyway. Yeah.
Dup BTFO in the chat. That's always good. Always like to see my Dup being BTFO'd.
But yeah, no, back to the movie, the fucking Science of Sleep.
Oh, so Lars is a romance movie, and Tarkovsky isn't.
Seen streamed on here at least.
I would say the worst movie we did streamed was Cabin Fever. This is a very close tie, though. I think it's equally as bad as Cabin Fever.
Look, but Cabin Fever isn't pretentious. Cabin Fever is just bad. Like
I think Cabin Fever
is like actively annoying.
Yeah, this movie pissed me the fuck off more than Cabin Fever, but I think I was more annoyed at Cabin Fever for more of a shorter amount of time. But
I don't think Cabin Fever was well thought out nor well written. This movie was just pretentious and shitty and like a lot of just more crap to deal with.
Like the non dream sequence shots in this movie were actually shot fairly well, and I kind of liked like the way the city was shot and all that. So I can't really knock the cinematography too much. And most of the actors I thought were okay, but it's just such a pretentious piece of shit fucking movie.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to the most pretentious movie I've seen before this, but man, this is really...
It's a tough one to top.
I recently watched fucking, what's it called? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I couldn't finish that shit movie. It was just so fucking boring.
Oh, really? I thought it was okay. Maybe just I saw it in the theater, so I couldn't have a chance to pause it, and I had to watch the whole thing, but I thought it was pretty good.
After the Hateful Eight, I just kind of gave up on Cockatino. Like,
fair enough.
And not even that the Hateful Eight was all that bad. I kind of appreciated like all the cinematography and shit, but his fucking cock storylines, man, Jesus Christ! It's just like you're watching his sexual fetishes just play out on screen. It's just
that's
an issue in Hollywood. There's a lot of
feet, a lot of black bulls.
Not a lot of black bulls, but there's a lot of feet. There's a shit ton of feet. I don't think is there even a black person in the movie? I don't think there is.
Famous. I don't know about anyone in the background, but
I don't think there's a single black character in the movie, so that's nice. Maybe that's why I liked it so much.
The part where I dipped out is the scene where he was making the Western shoot as the villain, and it was like this. I don't know. It's like a 10-minute scene of him playing cowboy, but it had nothing to do with the movie, and it was just I don't know. I had the ability to leave, so I got like really bored with it and just like, fuck this shit. Can't handle it.
Well, that's fair. That's a fair choice to make. I actually enjoyed that scene. I thought the performance was pretty good, and I thought the whole. Like literally had nothing to do with the plot, but thematically it has to do with like the whole like he has to give up his he's getting older and the world is leaving him behind, and he's like getting worse as an actor. He feels like, but. In the end, he knows how to persevere in the end. But I kind of get what you're saying though. Like, the movie is like probably the most boring Tarantino movie, but I also think it's his best one since Pulp Fiction because it's a little bit more restrained and not fucking reddity.
Okay, I can see that.
After getting a bit into Charles Manson, I find it hard to really revel in him getting killed like that. But
he doesn't get killed.
There's this great interview he has where he talks about his ancestors in World War I, like fighting the Germans and being overcome with grief when he finds his grandfather. He picks up a German soldier's wallet. He opens it up and he just sees this family of his, the soldier with his wife, his 2 or 3 children, and he just cries and he just has this emotional epiphany about we're just all fighting each other, just the same people for what? Because our fucking governments are. Well, it's he's an interesting figure, even if he was pretty mad.
True.
And Tarantino, I don't know. At this point, he makes so much fucking garbage that he might just be hurting the world more than Manson ever could. But yeah.
Oh, he's one of the few last stylized directors. I mean,
he's one of the last
cinematography. I won't deny that.
Well, I mean,
it's what he does occasionally, but just his stories are just
his writing isn't great. But to be fair, he is the last, probably one of the last couple working directors who are allowed to be directors in Hollywood right now. Like most directors they come in and they do a job for the studio, and the studio is the one who really makes the decisions. But Tarantino is probably the last like real. I don't want to say auteur because that sounds pretentious as fuck. But like the auteur system kind of like died. I think he's like the last of them, and everyone before and after and since is either retired or gone, or I guess Scorsese is still that too to some extent, and maybe like shit. I don't even fucking know anyone
Wes
else.
Anderson.
Wes Anderson, I guess he's too. Yeah. But his movies have been making a lot of money recently. Here we go.
Okay, but of course he's not actually Hollywood, but he manages.
We're not talking about East Asian or European. I mean, there's tons of European auteurs, but they all suck because European movies are shit. The saddest.
The guy Stalker as his favorite movie, right?
That's actually Eurasian. Technically, Russia is mostly in Asia.
Eurasian guys, Russia isn't part of Europe.
Oh, wait, hold up! I gotta check this. I mean, the BTFO for good. This might be the most BTFO'd moment in the history of my streaming career. Either I'm gonna get BTFO'd.
Russia is technically partly in Asia and partly.
Where was he born? Where was he born? That's the question. Where was he born? Oh my god! Oh shit! Oh god! If it's in Asia, I'm gonna be so happy. I'm gonna be like, yo.
Yeah, where is it?
Oh, it's in Asia! Yes!
Still doesn't mean he's not European stock, though.
Kadisk District. He was born on the Asian side of the Russian continent, like a couple hundred miles east of Moscow. Oh, Eurofags BTFO'd.
They're still European. They're still European transplants.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, what did he release his movies under, buddy? Oh yeah, what was that, Mosfilm? Oh yeah, Mosfilm.
Yeah, he studied in Moscow.
European Russian releasing company. Yeah, it's really interesting, right?
Yeah, sure. Cope more incel. Cope more Eurocell. He was not born. He was born in Asia. That's not.
He was born in Asia, but it doesn't mean he is Asian.
I'm not talking about sculptures. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing this shit.
You're gonna have to address that at some point, right?
Yeah,
it's
wait.
Really making the rounds now after Egg Boy called you out yesterday.
I'm not talking about this.
All right.
Yeah, he was born in Zaravsky, Russian. SVSR, Soviet Union.
Zavraye,
in the Kadisk district.
Look at that shit, man. I mean, look at that place. That's just straight up Europe.
Where?
I mean, if you just look at the images, your first result should be just him standing in the street of presumably his hometown. I don't know. But hey, it doesn't matter. Everyone is a Turk anyway, right? That's
either a Turk or a Jew. I don't trust either of them.
All right. Born on the map. He's a cusper. He may actually have been a Hapa. Because he was born on the cusp of Europe and Asia at the same time. So would he not be the true Hapa tour director?
But he doesn't have Hapa genes, though. Well, I mean, there might always be a sliver of Mongolian in there somewhere. But
he's half European, half Asian. I mean, wherever you're born is wherever you're born. If your people are on an Asian continent, Are you really European?
Asia is Europe. I mean, most of Asia isn't Europe, but Europe, like the border of Europe, is kind of indistinct. Like some people put it at the Moscow line, some people put it at St. Petersburg. Like it's kind of, or actually, what is it? The Caucasus? That's the official.
Oh, his family's from Ukraine though, so yeah. And originally they were Polish. Whatever, you know what I mean.
Have a look at the official Europe borders, though. Oh, look, dude, look at the official Europe border. I mean, for God's sakes, it's got to be in there. That's way past Moscow.
No, that's the wrong. Oh no, you're right. He is still in the. It's still west of the Urals. Shit. Fuck. Yeah. Like it's on the. It's on the fucking.
He's close. He's close, but he's still a proud Turkish European brother.
Fuck.
America BTFO again. Europe's got the greatest director. Fuck you. And I don't know.
Barely. But you also have all the French, so I think that cancels it out, incel.
I mean, there are some good French directors in there.
Nope.
I don't know most.
There's not a good one. There's not a good. There's not a good French film director. I've not watched a single French film that's been anything but utter trash.
I mean, you didn't watch A Charming Lives of the Bourgeoisie, did you? No. To be fair, that is technically made by a Spaniard, but with French actors and set and filmed in France.
It's probably shit, anyways.
Did? You really should see it. It does dream sequences amazingly well. It's from, what is it, 70-something, 68 or something? And it yeah, I mean, you're talking about like what is it now, 40 years ago, 50 years ago?
Oh, the Urals are not the... Wait, hold up. The Urals are not the Asian-European border. Because then fucking...
According to the official Europe borders that I looked up on Google, it was. But yeah, I mean... That's the thing, like, the definition of what is Europe and what isn't Europe is kind of, like, fluid. There's a couple of different definitions and some historical...
Because then, if that's the case, then, you know what else is? Then fucking Iran would be European, too. And so would Iraq and Kazakhstan. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
You need to send you the link of the one...
Wait, hold up. I need to look up the tectonic plates. This is the real... These are the real determination. Oh, wait, it's all just one big plate? There actually isn't an Asia and a Europe, then.
There isn't an Asia and a Europe. Well,
that is
the thing. Like, it's a subcontinent. Like, India has a subcontinent.
No, India's its own continent. India has its own tectonic plate, so it's its own continent.
I got a nice French map for you here to use, but, I don't know.
Yeah, no, the Eurasian plate... The Indian plate. So India is a continent, and Europe and Asia are not. They're just one big continent. Okay.
Well, it's a subcontinent.
No, India is its own continent.
That's how it works, right?
No, a continent is defined by a landmass on its own separate tectonic plates. So India is its own continent. It
needs to have tectonic plates. That's the official. Okay. Fine.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the only thing that makes sense, at least. I don't know how else you would define it, you know? Like...
Well, I mean,
that's why technically
historically, because we didn't know about tectonic plates 100 years or 200 years ago, but we did know what was Europe, more or less.
Right. Probably went to the Ural Mountains, but like for the modern sense, I mean, it makes more sense to define it by like South America. It's on its own plate. So is the Caribbean. So is North America. So is Africa, Arabia. So the Middle East has its own plates. India has its own plates.
Time, we don't consider the Caribbean its own continent. We just consider it a bunch of islands attached to America.
Yeah, Central America I consider its own continent, though.
Yeah, I mean, you probably should, and linguistically we do use it as that, but technically it's not its own plate, or maybe it is, or maybe America has two different plates. I don't know.
South America has a plate. North America has a plate.
It always comes by plates, doesn't it?
The plates.
Gotopia, BTFO by Google's superior knowledge. No, fuck you. He's just Googling it.
I don't like
just
Godard.
like I am, but I know at least that historically there are these varying definitions of what exactly Europe is. Which
No Love for I Stand Alone by Gasper Noé, South End Diary of a Country Priest and Diabolique were Kino, and I don't like Godard. No, Godard is shit. I think Godard may be the worst director that's considered good in all of time.
What did he make? Fuck it, I'll just Google it.
Breathless. He did Breathless, a bunch of other stuff, but he's not good. Are Slavs even white? I would say Slavs are more white than the Irish. So
the Irish have a bunch of Spanish admixture, so you might very well be right, yeah. Or the Irish have a bunch of Spanish admixture.
I don't believe the Wikipedia definition of continent because it's just done by convention, and I think it makes way more sense to do it by tectonic plate. I think tectonic plate is the most logical way to develop a continental system. I just don't know anything else that would work.
Wait, so the official definition is just the arbitrary system I talked about earlier.
It's an arbitrary system, yes, but to me, like, I think it lines up too close with the tectonic plates that we just use that as the definition.
Well, yeah, but then you get into shit where the Caribbean is its own continent, which is just...
Central America is its own continent. Because the Caribbean plate is also where Central America is located, so that area of Central America is its own continent.
Okay, I mean, or we just call them the plates instead of the subcontinents, because that would be more sensible, probably, but... Yeah.
Yes. Alright, well, it doesn't matter. This doesn't matter.
Either way, fucking Andrei Tarkovsky has been reclaimed for Europe. Balance has been restored. Europe is the center of cinema once again.
Nope. Andrei Tarkovsky is balanced out. The yin and yang of Europe. Europe is a net zero to film history because they provided the worst films and the best films. So they provided a net negative to film history.
Wait. You're saying that some European garbage movie is worse than American garbage movies? Because yes. America always loves to put in that, the big black cocks and the subversion and the Holocaust and all of that stuff.
Yes,
you really want to say that some shitty European movies are worse?
I would say that Breathless is penned. Not only is Breathless the single most influential movie in creating the modern woman and creating the modern dyke, to the point that I would say that Breathless has destroyed an entire generation of women.
How have I never heard of this fucking movie? Is it just appealing to dykes? What is it?
It's an historically important film that helped define an entire generation of women's independence, and the main actor from Breathless went on to be a supporter of the Black Panthers. So maybe it's just me, but maybe the French are actually the ones who really started the BBC trend. Maybe that's just me looking at history and truth and the facts of life. But
this movie was made in the 1960s. America was well on its way to accepting all those people. Hollywood had been...
No, we still had segregation by then. We were still in segregation by then, my friend.
You what?
We still had segregation.
You still had segregation, yeah, but you have women's right.
Yes, we did. That was a terrible decision.
Yeah, you got your suffragettes and all that. That's where all that crap started. I mean...
that started in France. The suffragettes got most of their... Actually, the suffragettes got most of their setup from French, what's it called? French feminism.
Did they?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. They were Jewish too, so it doesn't really matter. It's not real.
And French. It's all about the French.
Well, hey, either way, France wasn't the one that pushed it all over the goddamn world.
Yes, it was. French Revolution, Napoleon.
Yeah, the French Revolution happened in France. Like, the fact that the Americans
were... the Enlightenment was primarily... The Enlightenment was the Enlightenment which led us down the path of eventually leading to women's rights, came from the French Enlighteners. And
so you're saying that Enlightenment in itself is the problem to begin with?
Not necessarily, but the Enlightenment thinkers created a foundation upon which the women based their identity off of, and that's where the feminist movement came from. Is from the foundation of the Enlightenment thinkers.
Thinkers got a lot of their basis, which they base their things from the Greek philosophers. Does that mean that all the Greek philosophers are bad as well?
Yes.
It's just everything in history is bad because it at some point negative.
At some point it contributed to the success of women.
Yeah, well, I mean, look no further than America to see the effects of that. Right?
America's really the end goal. I think, as in terms of relative speaking, I think France and Spain and England and Latvia have done more damage to the world to the world's understanding of women than America ever has.
Latvia, the women still stay in the goddamn here. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Latvia BTFO. Okay, we're so off topic from the movies.
Latvia and compare them to the USA, motherfucker. You really?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go. Greeks invented gayness. Listen, I don't care. I don't care.
There's
This
probably
is
some
stop.
kind of female rights index or something.
I've made my
right?
point. I've made my point. We need to move on.
Well, no, you made a claim, and now we have to check if the claim is actually correct.
No, we don't.
No, we do.
We don't. We don't have time.
You made a
we don't have time.
sweeping statement. Here,
we are 7 minutes away from me ending the stream. I only go an hour, so we need to move on.
Oh, look.
We're gonna make our closing arguments about the movie, not this stupid gay shit. You should have been checking the clock, brother. You should have been checking the time, but it's time to wrap up.
You wanna? Okay, fine. You go live in your.
We can continue this on the gun stream later, but we need to end this YouTube portion of it for now. Okay, we can continue this debate later, but
Right.
Okay, so no, the movie sucked. We need to now. We're not drawing for next week, but I do have a reveal for everyone here watching, still here. Spain created Goblin Race. Here we go. Let me just switch over to general. There it is. Here we go. I have here the list of films, of themes for 2020.
Wow.
I did it. I did it this afternoon. I was able to do it, and there's so many themes. I actually went to the end of 2021. There was over 100 themes that was nominated. So we have film club themes for 2 years now. We'll see at the end of this year if we want to redraw for next year or just use the ones from this one, because these ones aren't that amazing. I kind of put the weaker ones in the second year. So if anything, we can just take some of the good ones and then, cross over and, use some of the other shit. But next week we're doing Prison, so if everyone... We're not going to draw for Prison tonight, but everybody... Lockdown?
Lockout. Is that a space movie? I'll put the poster up.
Lockdown.
A giant space prison. And all the...
sex. Well...
Is that a soy witch in the background? Why, yes, it is, my fellow incels. Here it is, the Nintendo Switch. Look at that. Let me just get this just me. Here it is, the Nintendo Switch.
Films. Oh,
look at my entire Switch screen's blacked out because I've got my.
Oh wow!
Look at that, the Nintendo Switch in my hands.
What's Hong Kong New Wave?
Hong Kong New Wave. I don't know. So it was one that was picked and it sounded kind of cool, so I picked it out.
Oh.
And then
just Hong Kong movies after 1980 or something, or what?
I don't know what it is. We'll find out when we get to it.
They're like that.
Why don't you fucking Google it?
No, you're fucking TV. You're supposed to know this shit.
I don't know what Hong Kong New Wave is.
Student guy here. I mean, you should know this shit, right?
The movies that come out in America to China, so you gotta get with the times.
Yeah.
Either way, I can probably nominate some things for Hong Kong New Wave. I mean, there's probably some decent.
But we're like weeks out from it. I think it's in like May, so we have like 3 months. We have to think about that. So don't worry about it for now.
All right.
But yeah, next week we're doing Prison, then Australia, and then Romance. So we got Prison and Australia to get through, and then we'll get to the Romance section just for you, Guntopia.
Hong Kong New Wave is shit like Bullet in the Head. I didn't see Bullet in the Head, but I'll take it.
Lockout. Is there a sculptor category? This might have to be a sculptor category.
Is that finally when we're gonna hear all the...
That should be part of the TV movie script, is that I'm secretly a massive sculptor. I'm not talking about this. I'm not talking about this.
What did you do?
Nothing. I'm not going to talk about it.
You can read the post from your thread, but that Zach made, but not the post, or maybe he did. I don't know. Maybe he's an expert on the Gahul sculptor lore.
Oh my god!
Oh, Hong Kong New Wave is like John Woo films.
Just
John. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. You know.
I still have like 2 John Woo films like on my computer, just waiting to be played during one of these fucking movie streams.
Mm-hmm.
Still got to play 1970 to see how fucking awful it ends up being, but tropes, just random black people shoved into every scene about World War One.
I will not answer. I'm not going to answer the SQ. I refuse to answer the SQ. Okay, but we everyone, we can nominate the prison movies the next couple of weeks. Put it on the V channel or the Julie, the Akun thread or whatever. We'll set it up there. But this is going to be the next couple of weeks of Film Club, so we'll see you there.
Don't do the fucking Shawshank Redemption. We don't need to see that one.
I'm going to do the Shawshank Redemption just because you told me not to. Because let me tell you, there's nothing worse. There's something more wrong consistently than a Latvian.
There's nothing more wrong than what?
There's nothing more consistently wrong than a Latvian.
Well, I mean, I was right about the borders of Europe, where you were wrong, and we're just like, no, I gotta cope by saying that my definition is better than the original official definition.
It is.
And we should just follow
the
mine.
tectonic plates definition is correct, but more importantly, the
it's
Urals should not be the border
correct in your
of Europe.
mind, buddy.
It's correct in the world. God. Wait, hold up. Who created the tectonic plates? Was it God? No, it was man. Who created the tectonic plates? God did. So really, we should be listening to what God tells us.
So you're telling me
I got God on my side.
Directly from God, that the real definition of continents is tectonic plates, not from any kind of human source.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I guess I can't argue with Gahul talking to God, can I?
No, you can't. You can't argue with God himself. Yeah. Latvians are still better than Estonians. That may be true, but it may also be wrong. Estonians may be better, for all I know.
Estonians are bitches. Like I eat Estonians for breakfast. Like they're nothing. Like we go out in the weekend just to kill a couple Estonians. It's just okay. Maybe this is the moment we end the stream. Maybe. Yeah.
There's a Reddit core theme for next year, but it's a long way off. We can maybe do a Shawshank then.
Look, Estonians fucking smell. They can't hold their vodka. They're loud. They're horrible people. Just get rid of them. We're going to annex that as the first thing. Just going to clear it out. Lebensraum for the Latvian people, yeah?
We don't need to talk about this.
Yeah, like I said, just kill the fucking stream. Go over to the gun stream or something.
Yeah, well, we don't need to talk about this. Okay, so that was fun. I think I got everything to say.
Don't watch The Signs of Sleep. It's awful.
Don't watch the movie. We're gonna watch Joker and Drive next. Well, actually, I'm gonna probably watch Drive now. I don't know what I'm gonna watch. I'll pick out something to watch in the gun stream afterwards. If you want to head over to SideTube, I'm gonna post the gun stream link in the YouTube chat for people, and then they can hop over. We did have flu by then.
No, they can't hold their. No, Latvians can hold their vodka. We are experts. Like we've been importing the shit from Russia since day one. We've been like making our own. We're experts now. We can just like drink like 3 liters of fucking vodka, no problem.
But yeah, I'm gonna move over there and watch a movie over on that stream. But for now, thanks for hanging out. It was good to see everyone. It was fun. I had a good time. I like talking to all ya. It was sure damn fun, and it was a good time. But Drive and Joker next Sunday, and then we'll talk about it Monday. Hopefully we'll get some real Redditors showing up for that discussion.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, peace out, bros.
Good night.
I mean, you can stay on the line. You guys can stay on the line. I'm just going to move over, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's all right. I was considering throwing in a Godwinson and PPP or faggots come face me, but I figured maybe better not.
We'll put that in the end of the when I re-upload the stream, the debates.
Cool.
Oh yeah,
Where's that
yeah.
going to be uploaded to?